And I don't know what salutation you want or which one you're used to. Some say good morning, some say grand rising, some say happy Sunday. Whatever the salutation is that you're used to on this morning, we say that to you. And we are just so grateful that God has allowed us to be able to enter into your presence on this morning, and we truly do come into his presence with thanksgiving on today. This that we're about to go into and what we're about to do, we welcome you, and we are so grateful that you took the time out of your day. This is the beginning of the day, and you have taken the time out of your day, and I know that God is exceedingly glad, and we're going to be giving you today what God has given us. And as I did my little morning intro that I usually try to get in on Sundays before our training session really begins here, I usually try to go out and invite others to come in at this particular time. But I am so thankful on today that whenever I was doing that on this morning, I did realize that God, and when I say he's so good, you can go out and read my Sunday morning vibration talking about how good God is and the experience of the word good. I may give you that on this just in case you don't see it. But I'm so grateful this morning to have in my presence not only you, but to have my daughter, Danielle, this morning. And it was just put in my spirit. I mean, I always, just from living life, just from living day-to-day, everyday life, I can always come on and I can always, start talking. And what I speak about, it is definitely word, because God he's a God that allows you to live what is already written. But the only thing is that the reason why a lot of people get frustrated, upset, don't understand, can't see, and they don't know why, and they, you start going into this negative connotation as far as speaking things, is because you don't know that what you have experienced, what you are experienced, or what you did experience, you did not know that was already written about you. You didn't know that it already existed. Right. And since you won't take the time to go out and find yourself, in the Constitution, which is the Word, then that's the reason why there's a lack of understanding. And of course, the Word of God says that people are going to perish. Yes. And we're finding out that whatever it is that we're going through, if we would just go into the Word to find it, we'll also find the solution. Right. We'll find the answer. Right. And then not only will we have the answer for what the problem is, the wisdom God will give us in the Word is the information. And as you read it, he'll give you the understanding. And then you should have already prayed concerning your wisdom versus his wisdom. Because our wisdom still sometimes leads us to the place and point of death. But God's wisdom allows us to know and to understand how to use the information that was supplied already in the Word. So what I'm going to do on this morning is I'm going to give Danielle the opportunity, since I'm always opening up. I'm going to give her this morning the opportunity to open up, and I'm just going to follow her lead just to show you. It is not to prove anything to you, but it is to make known not the wonders of God, but to make known God to every looker, listener, and especially to them that will believe and receive on today. So I'm going to give Danielle the opportunity this morning to kick it off. She's going to kick it off this morning, and I'm just going to join in. How's that?
Okay, so it is so amazing that you said that, everything that you have said, because on yesterday, but just throughout my week, talking about the different things that we must go through. God said in his word that Christ said that he left some sufferings behind for us. And I know the church has often taught us that we just need to pray and wait on the Lord and things of that nature. But as I was doing my studies, reading and things of that nature during this week, I understood from what I read that no, we don't have to sit in what we're in. But some things that we go through, they're necessary. According to Ecclesiastes, that there is a time and there is a place for everything, for our purpose, that God has given to us. And sometimes they're going to be what we deem bad times. And I had heard from somebody, from a conversation that led me to have a conversation with somebody else, that a particular person that I knew was in jail. And whenever I heard it and I spoke with somebody else about it, the person was like, took it to a negative point. But I was like, well, no, what I learned in the word is that was a part of that person's ministry. We all have ministries. We all have purpose. And our purpose is our ministry. Our ministry is our purpose. And if God allowed it to be so, that was a part of that person's ministry. So what did you do with that particular part of your ministry? Because whenever Paul was in jail, Paul preached. So much so till he got freed in jail and freed some other people. So did you go in your purpose, that portion of your purpose, did you go and it was so funny because the person that I was talking to, they went to jail too. And I was like, well, what did you do in jail? The person said they took a nap. Was that a part of your ministry to take a nap?
And it probably was, because
the only place he could take a nap.
Exactly, that's probably the only place the person could get some rest.
Amen.
But
I didn't say it in a judgmental tone, but we have to think, even in the bad things that we have, it was a part of our ministry. What did we do in that place to bring forth the purpose of our lives, that somebody else can be inspired to do what they had to do concerning their purpose?
I don't want anyone to take anything that society has taught us what's bad, what's not good for us, and from their teachings, then we become a society that whenever what has been set up in society, that we fall into those things, we then come out and we say, okay, then that's so bad. And then, so what happens? So then, whenever we engage in those things, then pride comes up. Exactly. And we don't want nobody to know. Exactly. And we are always trying to hide ourselves from what it was. But what we didn't get, and what society didn't teach us, but what kingdom does in this culture is that, guess what? You should be able to talk about whatever it was that was bad, because what God does is this. He takes all of your bad and he turns it into a testimony for you to get you back into purpose.
Absolutely.
And so what they have taught us to do is to, whatever goes on under this roof, it stays under this roof. What we all know is that we know the difference. Amen. We think we know what's good and what's bad, what's right and what's wrong. Mm-hmm. And because society has set us up to believe what God has purposed, what he has ordained, what he has allowed. Listen, I was reading on yesterday, and I trust and pray that everybody had a great Sabbath on yesterday. Mm-hmm. But whenever I was in the Word on yesterday morning, I began to look. The Lord took me back to Job. And I began to look, and even being in the church as a pastor and preaching this stuff, we always used to go and look, and we would pick out the key things that we think that we could preach and make the people hoop and holler and shout and da-da-da-da. But as I read the Word on yesterday, look, this is what God showed me in the Word. And this is the same thing that's applicable to each and every one of our lives. He did recommend Job to Satan. He did. God already knows. He knows, as I keep saying, God knows more than what he's told us. But yet he gets us, and based on what he knows concerning us, he will allow things to happen. He will, as a matter of fact, he is the one that will invite the devil to you. He will set you up before the enemy, because you have to understand God already knows. Even if it takes us having to go to jail, be in jail, if it takes you having to get embarrassed in public.
And then can I just stop you right there?
Yes.
Because whenever you were talking about what society deems as good and bad, and that's the idea that we now take and the approach that we take to the things that happen in our life whenever that is not so in kingdom. Everybody that is in jail is not a bad person. Everybody that's in prison is not a bad person. Sometimes that's just a part of your purpose. You can be a minister for the Lord. You can be in purpose, but the person that needs to be reached is in a certain location. So you being who you are, having to meet that person, having to reach that person, you've got to go where that person is. And that might mean you have to go to prison. However, that does not mean that you're a bad person or that going to prison is a bad thing, because the Constitution tells us to count it all joy. Count it all joy when we fall into these diverse or these different things. Not say that they're bad, not to say that they're good, but to count it all joy. Whenever Paul was beat, ridiculed, and everything else like that, he counted it joy that he was able to do this for his purpose. So I just wanted to say that, we can't look how society looks at certain things whenever we're dealing with purpose, whenever we're dealing with kingdom. All these things come for a specific reason. And I'm going to let her finish saying that, and I'm going to give you the second part of what God had given me on this week.
And all I was going to basically say is that we never stop and think that anything that we're in, it's a setup.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It is a setup. And that's because your mind can't go into the place to find what is already written.
Yes.
Concerning you.
Yes.
Concerning me.
Yes.
And so whenever we get into those situations and circumstances, as Danielle was saying, we begin to look at it and we deal with what it is.
Right.
Never having the understanding. And the reason why we don't have understanding, he said that you're going to perish for lack of what? Knowledge. And your knowledge is already contained. This is all the information you need right here to combat every situation and to know why you're in what and what you're supposed to get out of it, and to also ultimately know that what? This is a set up by God. And I know that a lot of people have always probably preached, it's only a setup and da-da-da-da-da-da. But what was he setting you up for?
Right.
He was setting you up for your purpose, for the reason why you came here. And I do understand, and I'm going to let Danielle get to the end of it, because on last Sunday we were dealing with, whether or not you know who you are. Mm-hmm. But it's amazing, and it's been scientifically proven that the only reason why you're here, God purposed you before you got here. Mm-hmm. And whenever you stop and you think about a man and a woman and engaging your mother and your father, engaging in sexual activity to bring forth you, it's a known fact. It's scientifically proven that it's when a man releases his sperm, it's 500 billion eggs, all trying to go towards that one egg. And but guess what? But whenever you consider and you look at it, only one out of 500 billion sperm cells, only one reaches that egg. So it was you who reached that egg. None of us are mistakes. Not only are we not mistakes, we should not hold on and hang on to what it was, whether you know your mama, whether you know your daddy, regardless of what your mama was, your mama is, or your daddy was, your daddy is, or whatever. It does not. You were here already ordained. You were predestined. Pre means before, destined means the end. God made you from the end to the beginning, and then he put us here to begin what he's already ended. So, so the things I'm saying on less to say that whatever it is we go through in this life, it's a means to an end to get us to the place where God has purposed us. But yet, in getting to the place, he already know and he understand that we would never, you have a dream. You have a dream. You have something. God has shown every last one of us something that we cannot just shake. We cannot shake it. And that's your purpose. That's the gift. And he has placed in us, before we even got here, what's needed. He has placed in us the ability. Right. The ability to do just what he sent us here to do. Mm-hmm. So, so I said all of that in a nutshell, we should not look at what it is we have to go through, what it is we meet, what it is we engage in. We should look at it, and that's not to say that you can set yourself up to do whatever it is you want to do, and then think that this is a part of my purpose. No, when you willfully do some things that you definitely already understand is not right for you to do, then the longer you stay in there, there's several scriptures that I can put on you concerning that. One of them says that because you continue to do things that you know is wrong, it says because execution against that, the sentence hadn't come to you speedily, then it's still yet set in your heart to continue to do those things. And then in another place, then the Word of God lets us know that once you continue to keep doing what you know is wrong to do, then it says, you can't continue to come before God and say, I repent. He said there's no more sacrifice for that. In other words, there's nothing else that you can give knowing. There's nothing else that you can give knowing. But you have to know the difference between the setup and whether or not, you're participating and you're practicing in something that you know that you shouldn't be.
Okay, so the second part of what God had given me is a question, and I want to pose it, and I just want you to think, so I'm going to give you the answer. I don't require an answer. But in the world, not just in kingdom, but in the world, what type of person is the most dangerous person in the world? Let you know that for a second. And it all connects. Do you want to try?
Can I try a believer?
I like where you're going with it, but no, it's the flip side of it. Because we are very dangerous because of this reason that I'm going to give you. Yes, ma'am.
Say, the ignorant?
No. Anybody else want to try?
You said the most dangerous.
What type of person is the most dangerous person?
I'll take a shot. Is it the wicked?
It equates to them being wicked because wickedness comes from rebellion. Rebellion is knowing what to do, but don't do what you know what to do. We were all given. I'll give you the answer before I get ahead of myself. The most dangerous type of person in the world is an unempowered person, a person that lacks power. Now, we were all given power whenever we received. What was that power to do? Because mind you, an unempowered person is a person, one thing an unempowered person does not do. And what is that?
Dominate.
They can't. Why? Because they don't work. They don't work. Whenever we receive, we get the power to work, which comes with domination, which comes with everything that kingdom now allows us to do, fulfillment of purpose. But an unempowered person is dangerous because the work that's inside of them to complete, they don't do it, which makes them wicked. We all have that. Whether we came into that knowledge or not, we all have that. Just upon conception, I'm talking about between mama and daddy, conception, you have a work. Receiving Christ gives you the power to complete the work. But an unempowered person, not somebody that has not met Christ, somebody that does not, whatever, but an unempowered person is the most dangerous person in the world because they simply don't care. They just do not care. Yes, ma'am. May I say this first before you get started? Coming from Matthew 13:31, and I'm going to show you how God gave it to me. It's talking about what the kingdom of heaven is likened to. I just want that verse. That's it. And it's been taught, what have you, talking about the mustard seed. Faith of the mustard seed, and now the kingdom of heaven now is being compared to a mustard seed. Why was the kingdom of heaven compared to a mustard seed? Does anybody want to guess? Does anybody know? It's okay, I'm going to tell you. It was compared to a mustard seed for a couple of reasons, but the main reason why is because of the size of a mustard seed. The size of a mustard seed is about 1 to 2 millimeters in size. Millimeters, about that big, in size. Why is the kingdom of heaven and the thought process behind the kingdom of heaven compared to a mustard seed. It tells us this, that nothing can be contained in the kingdom of heaven besides the sum total of what God ordered it to be. There's no room. There's no space. I can't do anything with it. I can't put anything in it. You can't do anything with it. You can't put anything in it. It has to be whatever God ordered it to be. So we can't put religion. We can't put tradition. We can't put carnality. But most of all, the one thing that does not belong in the kingdom is impotence. A lack of power. Because God has given us all the power to do what he has ordained for us to do. Preordained, like we understood, that came before us and before our end. He's already given that to us for us to make it to our end. A person that is not using the power that is given to them. And that circles back now to the work. We have to work in all situations because everything is a part of our ministry. I don't know what the particular person did that was in jail, but I see in the Constitution that even the disciples, and the apostles, whenever they were overtaken in these things, they were still working. Whenever I'm overtaken in some things, I still have to work. Whenever you're overtaken in things, you have to still, the work has got to be accomplished. It has to. And whenever, for so long a time, we don't do what we're supposed to do because we're in a bad way, or what we deem as not necessarily a comfortable or a good existence or what have you, then the lack of work will ultimately lead to being unempowered. That makes you very dangerous, not only in life, but also in the kingdom, because then it makes you unuseful. And me and Mama was having a conversation, and I'm going to hush after this, but me and Mama was having a conversation, and a lot of you all know us personally, so you know that I used to have a twin. She's still my twin, but she's no longer here with us physically. I honestly cannot bring myself to go and visit my twin in the cemetery. It's just something about it. I can't do it, but Mama does it often because she has to make sure that everything is in tip-top shape how she wanted to be out there. So she went and she visited my sister's place, resting place or what have you, and she had said that she looked around the vastness of the cemetery, the grounds and everything, and she said that her prayer was that she doesn't want to come there full. She wants to be completely empty by the time she gets to the place where she takes her rest. And that coincided with what God had me looking at and studying and reading on this week, because at the end, are we going to go there full, or are we going to go there empty? Now, going there full means that you did work your purpose while you had the time, the space, and the opportunity to work your purpose. So now, the purpose, the power, and everything else connected to what you were supposed to do is still in you. Or going empty means that you allow God to lead you to whatever it was that he intended for you to do. You use the power that he gave you in order to complete it, and you did what you had to do, and now there's nothing left in you. And she quoted Paul, where he had said that he ran the race and he finished his course. And the only reason why Paul could say that is because he did at all times, every part of his ministry, right, wrong, or indifferent, good, bad, pretty, ugly, whatever, he did in purpose what he's supposed to do, in purpose to complete the purpose.
I was just sitting here and I was eating everything up, and where I stalled was when she used the word unempowered. I promise you, it's another training session altogether. But let me just say something. There are a lot of people, and just let me go from this standpoint. When it deals with power, that's not the problem. The power is not the power is not the problem. It's the authority. And there are so many people who are powerful, but they're not authorized to use the power because they're not under anyone's authority. It's okay. Jesus, at 12 years old, already knew who he was. He already knew that he was the anointed one. He already knew that he was Elohim. He already knew that he was powerful. He already knew at 12, but yet he submitted himself to his mother and his father. Remember when he was in the temple and he was out there and he was preaching, and when they came and they got him, he said, don't you know? You don't even know who I am, but I know, and I must be about my Father's business. So Jesus went home. All powerful. He went home and he stayed submitted unto his parents until he was 30 years old. A lot of people know that they are anointed, that they have a gift, but it's not that you don't know that. It's that you need to take what you know and you need to sit under authority until it's the time for you to use what it is you know. Jesus left at 30 years old. You need to read the word and read it as it is. When he left, he didn't leave to go out and begin to do works of miracles and healing and all of this. Read the word. In Matthew, I think the 3rd chapter, it tells us that when he left home at the age of 30, being God in the flesh, powerful, anointed, Elohim, maker, creator, he went to look to get under someone's authority. The Bible said that he left Galilee and he went to look for John. It's all right. Why? Because in that time, John was God's authority in the earth.
May I ask you a question?
Ask.
Are you speaking?
I'm speaking.
No, I'm asking you. Are you speaking that in regards to the work that is placed in us to
Yes.
do? Versus, so we need to be under authority to do the work that was placed in us to do? Is that what
you got the power? You said it.
Right.
You have the power. Listen,
Right.
You have the power. But until you get our perfect example, when you read, there's nothing that we can do with this, y'all. That's why so many people have made shipwrecks of their ability to perform in the areas of which they've been gifted because they went out prematurely and no one sent them out. Somebody better say something.
Right, but I wasn't talking that far back. I was talking after reception. If you receive, you already understand that you have to be under authority. So I wasn't.
That's not in your world. It's a given as far as understanding in your world.
And that's why I was trying to, because if I was listening, I would think that what you're saying is the same thing that I was saying, which it wasn't. All that, what she's talking about, versus what I'm saying, has already been established. That's all I want to clear up.
So you want to establish that,
Right?
Okay, and I'm just saying that there are so many that have ran and are still running, and they've been running prematurely.
Okay.
When we want to talk about this race that Paul ran, and when you talk about finishing his course,
Right.
there was a way. Whenever you even look at the lives of them that was even before us, and then look at your life, see if anything mirror. See if there's any semblances, and then you can see the differences also.
Okay.
However, I'm going to finish this. You heard what she said, but you have to understand that there's just like this is my hand, this is one side, and this is the other side.
Right.
She gave you that side, I'm giving you this side. In order to have this and this will equal this. And this is where your power is. It's all right. As I said, Jesus left home at 30. 30, whenever you study the scriptures and you understand in Hebrew, 30 is the year, it's the number, it's the age. That's why they could call him rabbi. He stayed under authority, went to find authority to be placed under at that time, because the age of 30 is when they consider you to be a rabbi. 30 in that time gave you the ability to be called a rabbi and to be heard. A lot of people are listening to what you're saying, but you're not being heard because you have not submitted to authority to be sent out, to be able to use the power that exists in you. When this thing is done correctly, the results are magnanimous. And that's the only thing that I'm saying. So that's why he went to John, and John was trying to deter him. Whenever he got to him, he was like, hey cousin, because you know John and Jesus, they're cousins 6 months apart. And no doubt John and Jesus played together. Mary and Elizabeth talked to them, and they told him who they were. And then John sees Jesus coming. And now John is like, hey, now you coming to me to be baptized. He said, I must need. He's like, no, cousin, hold it. Suffer it to be so. Suffer it to be so. This is to fulfill all righteousness here. John, you are God's authority now in the earth. But whenever I submit to you, whenever I get unto you, you baptize me. Whenever I get unto you, I now not only have the power, but I have the authority to go out and to use this power that I have. So you can be powerful and unempowered also. The power resists. It rests. The power rests. But you can resist the power that be by going out in your own and not being authorized to go. So therefore, your power become useless. It's okay. And then that's another whole segment, because that's whenever you start doing, you start getting into this witchcraft and all this other foolishness. You have power. But you need the authority to be able to use the power that you have, and that the power be powerful. That's just what it is. What you want to say?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. You have to. But I'm not refuting anything that she said. Anything that Danielle tell you that God give her, it's a given. It is a given. And I'm grateful for it. But whenever she used the word unempowered, this is what literally stayed in my spirit, because this is word. This is the word. And so oftentimes, like I said, just because the pastor, that you preach, on Sunday, and the people amened it, and they might have, somebody might have started speaking in tongues and shouting and stuff. Now you think, you go out there and you get you cards, and you ready to start your own ministry. But you have to wait, you have to be sent. You have to be sent. Search the scriptures. You have to be sent. You got a good voice, you can sing. You sing 1 or 2 times. Your pastor tell you that you have an anointed voice, whatever. And you want to run out and you want to start you a singing group and travel the world. You can go before time, is all I'm saying. And the power becomes useless. Why? Because of the authority. That's all I'm saying. There's so many things in this life that you have to be authorized. There are things that you have to have the seal on, that allows you to know that this is legal, this is binding, you have the permission, you can do this is right, this is ready. Well, the authority is a representation of that. That's what the authority is. It's a representation of that. You can know who you are, and a lot of us already do. But to be able to be who we are, we have to have the authority to go in and be able to use what it is we know. So I'm grateful on today. I thank God for this training session, and I do know that them that tune in, that you listen, I thank God for what you have received, and I just truly pray that your fallow ground, it was broken up, that this would go into you, Not that you would have to so much compartmentalize and put it into different places. It just told us to eat the whole roll. Whatever you're going to need from whatever it was that was said, whenever you need it, if you receive it. And see, one thing I refuse to do is to debate the word, to argue the word, or try to prove a point. The word itself proves itself. The word proves itself. So get in the word, and let's all of us be proven by the word on today. Trust me when I tell you, it is written. You are already written in this word. Get in the word and find yourself. I'm going to say thank you again for tuning in with us on today. I'm going to let Danny, as usual, she's going to give you the ending of this training session. I just want to say God bless you in this upcoming week. Check yourself to see who it is you're under. This is what I said. No, none of us, no one person has it all. We're going to need somebody. No one person has it all. Can I prove that? After Moses got the children of Israel out of Egypt into the wilderness, into the desert, he has over 1 billion people out there with him. And this is a man. Come on now. Think about it. Listen at it. Let's place ourselves in this place. Think about what it is you have done and how you have succeeded in doing it. And where you are today, it's still yet not complete because you have not come to your end. I haven't come to my end. But the place where we are, we're at a standstill. We remember everything that we've done. Moses remember the rod. Remember how, it stretched forth, it's opened it up. Remember how God closed it and everything, and how they came through it. And now he's in a place, and he don't know how to get out of this place that he's in. He has all these people with him, and out of everything that was done to get them now to where they are, now Moses is at a standstill. How many of you on today, out of everything you've already done, you know it's not the end, but yet you're not moving because you're at a standstill? Moses' father-in-law, he comes to Moses in the desert. And Moses he asked the question. He wants to know, how do I get out of here? And God will send you. He will send. You have on your path the next person that's needed to help you move. Our thing is that if they don't look like us, if they don't talk like us, if they don't say what we want to hear, if they don't believe like we do, then we can't receive from them. Come out of that state of mind. Come out of that frame of mind. Come out of that way of living, because you're not moving, because you cannot see what God has sent. You want to see first and then hear, but you should hear first so you can see. Make no judgments in the ears. Make no judgment in the ears, because we're so used to making judgment from the eyes. And whenever we make judgment from the eyes, what's being said never come into the ears, so that sight can then be produced. That we can see as God see and say as God say and be able to move. If you want to come out of your desert, if you want to come out of your wilderness, listen to who he's sending on your path in this week. Take us out.
Well, we just invite you to interact with us on all our social media platforms. There'll be links in the bottom listed, and I guess they'll be linked in the live. And we just want you to stay empowered, know who you are, and submit to authority, and walk in the gift and the calling with which God has ordained you to walk into. We just say, God bless you.